Lawmakers also shared their takeaways on President Bongbong Marcos' State of the Nation address. Pauline Versosa reports to us live from Batasang Pabansa. Pauline, what do you have for us?
Hi, Ses. Yes, we're still here at the north wing of the Batasang Pambansa complex in Quezon City. It's been quite the eventful day, highlighted by the fourth State of the Nation address of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Now, following his speech, which lasted for about an hour and 11 minutes, there were a lot of mixed reactions, especially from those who attended his SONA personally here in the Batasan. We got to speak to some members of Congress post-SONA, among them first-time legislator, Akbayan Party List Representative Attorney Shel Diokno. He told us that the president made some good points in his SONA earlier, especially when he touched on flood control, also on issues on water service agreements and transparency with the budget. But for Attorney Shel, he said the president did miss on some opportunities, particularly in education. Sabi niya, medyo bitin, because marami pa raw sanang gusto marinig ang kabataan. He said that while the president did tackle infrastructure like building more classrooms, providing laptops and free Wi-Fi in public schools, he didn't really answer how to solve the education crisis that the Philippines is facing right now. As we all know, there was that recent survey that showed that about 90 million Filipinos are functionally illiterate. Ibig sabihin, they can read and write, but they can't really comprehend complex ideas. So that's something that for Attorney Shel Diokno was a missed opportunity for the president. We also got to speak to Senator Risa Ontiveros, and just like Attorney Shel, she said that President Marcos did make some good points, one of them being his determination to hold corrupt officials accountable, especially when it comes to flood control. But Senator Ontiveros also expressed some apprehension, especially when President Marcos announced that he will be returning any proposed GAA bill that does not align with the government's national expenditure program, even if that means having a reenacted budget next year. And here's what Senator Ontiveros also had to say about that.
I don't think it's executive overreach yet. Kasi tingin ko nag-assert lang siya na dapat yung ipoproduce na General Appropriations Bill ng legislature ay somehow aligned sa National Expenditure Program ng executive. Pero gaya ng nabanggit ko kanina, baka magiging overreach kung i-insist na the only way forward is a reenacted budget. Dahil hindi naman. Pwedeng kung ibabalik niya sa amin, pwede pa rin naming iwasto yan or punuin kung may gaps.
Now, says earlier today also marked the opening of the 20th Congress, with both chambers holding its inaugural session, and no surprises there. It was a landslide win for Senator Cheese Escudero, who is retaining the Senate presidency after he got 19 votes, while Senator Tito Soto received 5 and will thus serve as the minority leader. Senator Jinggoy Estrada also retained his position as Senate President pro tempore, while Senator Joel Villanueva was appointed the new majority leader and chairman of the Senate Committee on Rules. We also got to catch up with Senator Joel Villanueva before the SONA, and here's what he shared with us.
Bumatikos, maraming kritiko, but he retained his composure, his brilliance of being a lawyer, a legal luminary, but at the same time being very respectful. But at the end of the day, after the Supreme Court's decision, I think it shows na tama ang Senado, ang direksyon ng Senado, hindi nagmadali, hindi inupuan, bagkos ito mismo yung the same path na pinuntahan ng SC.
Says that was Senator Joel Villanueva talking about the advantage of Senator Cheese Escudero retaining the Senate presidency. He said it just goes to show that he has what it takes to lead the Senate. Meanwhile, over at the House of Representatives, late 1st District Representative Martin Romualdez also retained the House speakership with 269 votes. And he also won uncontested. Now, before the SONA earlier, we got to speak to presidential son Ilocos Norte 1st District Representative Sandro Marcos, who was also elected majority leader. And he talked about why it's also advantageous for the House for Speaker Martin Romualdez to retain the speakership.
I think I'm well prepared enough for the job. Pero dagdag trabaho talaga yan. I mean, the job of majority leader is it's a thankless job. And it's a lot of late nights and a lot of work. But sa tingin ko, handa naman po tayo.
Right, says, well, it's already been about 2 hours since the State of the Nation address of President Bongbong Marcos. Many promises were made, solutions were provided, answers were provided, but of course the question on every Filipino's minds is, will these promises come to fruition in the last 3 years of Marcos's administration? Here at the Batasang Pambansa complex, people are already starting to leave, and as mentioned, this year's SONA was quite subdued. They didn't roll out the red carpet because they wanted to be in tune or attuned to the realities that many Filipinos were facing. So there wasn't any of that pomp and pageantry that is typically associated when it comes to the SONA. Says?
Pawi, what about things that were unsaid in the President's SONA? For instance, there was no reference to the ICC, former President Duterte being there, or the impeachment, for instance. What did the lawmakers have to say? Were they looking for references to these issues?
Well, you're right, Seth. Let me just add to some of the things also that the President did not discuss, and that's online gambling. A lot of people were expecting him to give out a pronouncement or a more firm announcement on online gambling, because last year he did give that a surprising ban on pogos, but this time around he didn't really announce anything when it comes to that. But when it comes to impeachment, yes, wala nga rin siya sa SONA ni Pangulong Marcos. But of course, here in the sidelines, lawmakers were asked about it, particularly Attorney Shell Diokno, and here's what he had to say about the impeachment of Vice President Sara Duterte and the recent ruling of the Supreme Court calling it unconstitutional.
On the one hand, may kapangyarihan ang Supreme Court na maging check sa grave abuse of discretion. Klarong-klaro yan sa ating konstitusyon. On the other hand, meron din kapangyarihan ang Senate bilang impeachment court na meron silang sole power to try and decide impeachment cases. Ang tanong, pwede bang pumasok ang Supreme Court when the impeachment court under the Constitution has the sole power to try and decide impeachment cases? So that is an issue that has never happened in our legal history. Kaya hindi natin alam kung paano ma-resolve yan.
Now, Seth, we also got to ask some senators about it. Senator Risa Ontiveros did say the ball is now with the Senate, being the legislature. Sabi niya, the Senate still does have that exclusive sole power to try and decide. So sila daw sa minority bloc, they're really thinking hard on the best way forward so that they can perform their responsibilities under the Constitution to proceed forthwith with this impeachment trial. But on the other hand, Senator Joel Villanueva told us earlier that for them, they want to respect the decision of the Supreme Court. They said they will be having a caucus tomorrow, but it won't be their priority in their agenda tomorrow. They will be tackling priority measures instead and the subcommittee chairmanships. Sabi niya yung impeachment daw, baka nasa 4th or 5th na yan sa kanilang priority tomorrow, says.
Thank you. That's our fellow anchor here on The Big Story, Pauline Versosa.